This is something I work with guys on a lot, and I help them find what I consider their masculine blueprint. And a lot of, if we take this just one step back for a second, so when we're from about 2 years old to 8 years old, our brains are in what's called theta. And in theta waves, this is where hypnosis works. So we're completely malleable and we're able to be conditioned. This is why society and the things that we see and the way people speak to us, it's so impressionable on us because of the fact that in those years, our brains are just being molded. A lot of our foundations written between that 2 to 8 years old. Now, after 8 years old, we still make decisions on things that we bring into our brain based on who we respect and value. But from 2 to 8, we're almost just like this sponge and blank canvas for society to really condition. And so what I challenge guys to do first and foremost is sit down and start writing out the traits that you believe currently that you believe a man should be, right? So just write those down and look at them. Take like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, just write down as many as you can think of that you believe you value in a man right now in your current mindset. And then look at them and start crossing off the ones that you're like, I don't really believe that. I don't really believe that. And maybe circle the ones that you do believe. Circle the ones that still resonate with you. And then I tell guys to go ahead and actually think about the traits of men in their current life, of how they present themselves, and say, hey, what are those traits that you value in maybe some of your friends, in the people you look up to? Maybe it's colleagues, whatever. What are some of those traits in those men that you value and that you may not have yet? And then write those down. And what you're doing is you're starting to now consciously make your masculine blueprint. You're starting to say, whoa, okay, this is where my alignment comes into play. Now, all of a sudden, I'm creating a list built on the things that I'm choosing to keep in my life after I take inventory of the things that were written for me. And then I'm choosing the traits in other men that I like, that I want to start showing up with as well. Now, again, especially when it comes to that, it's going to take work. It's not just going to be like, oh, I made the decision, all of a sudden it comes up. No, that's not how it works. Like, it's going to take work. But we have to remember that the story for us as men was written for us. It wasn't written by us. If we haven't taken the time to actually do this inventory and challenge ourselves to see what's aligned with us, we haven't written the story for ourselves yet. We're still playing by somebody else's playbook. Right. And so at this point, you're keeping the things from your past that you like, and then you're adding in things that you like from other people. And then you basically create that into one big power list of all the traits that you believe a man to be. Now, what I do with guys is I go a step further from that, as I have them create only 3 to 5 of these as their core values as a man. And I have mine. I keep mine right here on my computer. And I do this because it reminds me every time I come into my office that if I'm showing up as these 5 pieces of what I believe a man should be, if I show up as those every day and in every conversation in this podcast and everything I do, then I will never leave a scenario with regret, with shame, with judgment. I'll always leave it being authentic with who I am. And so that's the whole point of that. The masculine blueprint becomes 3 to 5 traits. And I classify it as 3 to 5 traits because, again, big foundational guy, we don't rise to the occasion. We fall back to the lowest level of training. When we have 3 to 5 things that we can fall back to, I can remember 3 to 5 pieces always. And I can remind myself of what those 3 to 5 pieces are, no matter how emotional I get in a conversation, no matter how angry I get, no matter how much I'm in my sympathetic nervous system, my instincts, I can create a foundation that I can drop down to, that I can always bring out in myself and make sure that I remember and uphold those values. So that's why I say 3 to 5. And then that becomes your true masculine blueprint. Those are the foundational pieces that you step on every day. And then the rest that are in that list, in the big list that you took your 3 to 5 pieces from, those become add-ons as you become more conditioned to represent authenticity every day, to own that authenticity. And then you start putting on those extra pieces because you're able to. Your lowest level of training now is so high, you can start increasing that training, right? And then you make that lowest level even higher. So that's where the masculine blueprint, that's the steps I challenge guys to take. And it doesn't take more than, 15 to 30 minutes. Give yourself that. If you're not willing to give yourself 15 to 30 minutes, you got a lot of work to do other than just this, but give yourself 15 to 30 minutes and start assessing